Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me for another process video. So I'm really excited to jump into my pages for my day in the life, and I'm going to kind of share my process behind what I'm doing here. I have all of my photos printed and it's going to be a lot of fun putting these together. But before I do that, I wanted to just share with you some of the differences between the physical kit and the digital kit that you can purchase from Ali Edwards' website. I did purchase the physical kit. I've purchased all of the physical kits for this year, and I just found that what comes in them is so versatile that I can use them for anything. I love that each one has kind of come with a different stamp set, different embellishments that I just love using on my pages just really throughout the year. So this installment of the Day in the Life comes with this little stamp set with these numbers. Around here, Day in the Life, everyday stuff right now, observations. If you watched my last process video, you saw me use this little days of the week strip stamp. And then also you get these tiny little embellishments that say little sentiments on them. And the sentiments are actually in gold foil, so that's really fun. If you do get the digital kit, you don't really get to have them in with the gold foil, but I'm going to show you how I'm using the digital versions of these also. So you have remember, stories, right now, hello, today, love this, little details, and this moment. And then you also get some 3x4 cards. Today's high, today's low, hello work, observations, day in the life. This is a fun one, yes, kind of a pattern card. So you have those, and then you also get a few 4x6 cards. So when I was printing out the digital version, I just brought them into Photoshop. So one of the cards that I wanted to use as a background is this one. I want to use this as a background for a lot of my photos. So I brought it into Photoshop and just sized it up. Didn't really have to do that much in playing around with it. But this is what it looks like on a full sheet. So obviously you can get this as a background under a lot more photos than if you were to just have the physical kit and you just have one of these 4x6 cards. So I mean, obviously I can have this, you know, multiple times for multiple backgrounds as opposed to maybe getting 2 out of these. So that's definitely a plus in my book. And then I also sized up these other cards. Oops, sorry, creating a bit of a mess here, but these cards, I love these patterns, and I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use these as pattern cards or maybe as like embellishments or something. I'm going to kind of play around with that. And then for the stamp set, so it comes with these really cool numbers, 1 through 10. I use those on one of my journaling cards that I typed up. And I put together one of these workout playlists. So part of my day was actually my workout in the morning. So one of the cards is just the songs that I was listening to on my playlist, and I just basically digitally stamped those numbers in here for each of the songs. So that was really fun. And then on the bottom here, oops, sorry. On the bottom here, I basically sized up these little embellishments that I was sharing with you earlier. I sized them up to 1.5 inches, and you're gonna see I kind of have a plan for these and using them on a transparency. And they just, I'm thinking they're gonna fit a lot better sized up to being 1.5 inches as opposed to these really tiny embellishments. So I feel like you can get a lot out of both kits. I mean, it kind of depends on what you want and what you're going for with your layout, but I definitely see benefits to both kits. I probably got the physical kit mainly just for this stamp set because I can see myself using this over and over again. But it's really nice to have the cards. These come on really nice thick cardstock. So I'm also going to incorporate some of these cards into the layout as well. So anyways, that's just kind of an overview of the products and the differences between the physical kit and the digital kit. And now let's get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here is just cut down my pattern paper. This is one of the cards that came in the kit. It says, "Tell me a story about today." And I just really loved that red, that sort of bright pop of color with that red as a background. So I decided to size this up in Photoshop, take the digital card and size it up in Photoshop, and then cut it down so that I could put it behind some of my photos. So I cut them down to be 3 inches in width by 3.5 inches in length, and that way they fit all the way across the pocket, but I still had a little bit of space underneath the photo so that I could stamp the time. So I just wanted to alternate the patterns here, so I'm cutting down another one of the cards that I had sized up in Photoshop, and I'm going to just kind of alternate them so that you have the red and the tan in each pocket. If I had planned this out a little bit better, I would have left a little bit of white space at the bottom of the pattern, and just kind of I could have done that in Photoshop instead of adding these on top of a 3x4 piece of white cardstock, but I didn't plan that far ahead. I normally don't, and so that's why I'm kind of having to use this extra piece of cardstock here to put my photo and pattern paper on top of. But that was kind of fun to just use that timestamp that came in the first Day in the Life kit for this year, and it's a timestamp and a date stamp, so that's really awesome if you work on Project Life. You can also use it there, but it's been really great for Day in the Life as well. So here I am just cutting down my journaling. I typed up all of my journaling beforehand, and I kind of knew what I was gonna journal about. I took one photo pretty much every hour. There was kind of a gap in there when I was just working and kind of doing the same stuff, so I didn't take any photos in there, but for the most part I do have a photo from every hour. And what I decided to do is make every single card a flip-up card. So I washi taped the photo card on top of the journaling on both sides, and then that creates just a little flip up so you can slip the bottom part into the pocket and then have the card on top, the photo, essentially flip up. So that was kind of cool. And then here I just thought that I was going to add a label to each of the cards, and instead of have that time at the bottom in that white strip, I thought that I was going to add it on top of a label. But I just thought that was a little bit too busy. It kind of overwhelmed the photo, so I decided against that. I just kind of took that away and decided to go with something that was just simple with what I have. And then I pulled out these epoxy round circles and decided to embellish the photos. These epoxy stickers came in the second Day in the Life kit for this year. And for my second Day in the Life, I actually used the digital version of these. It just fit a little bit better on the mini book that I was making. But these stickers, I thought they worked really well here, just to kind of add a touch of something, but not overwhelm the photos with embellishments. And then here I'm creating a little 3x12 insert. So I took those sentiment embellishments, the digital version that were sized up to 1.5-inch circles, and I just taped one on each side of a transparency, or actually 2 circles on each side of the transparency, and then that just kind of leaves a little bit of a peek through effect to the 6x12 layout that's behind it. And then I cut up that 4x6 card that had breakfast, snack, lunch, and dinner, and I'm putting those at the top and the bottom of that 3x12 insert. I did not eat a lot this day, apparently. Didn't have a lot to write there, but I kind of like having that recorded. It just kind of goes along with the completeness of the day and having it recorded, so that was good to have. And then I just slipped in the Day in the Life card and that today's high, today's low card, and ended up journaling later. And then because stamping is probably one of my favorite things to do. I just decided to do a little bit of embellishing here. I used that Hello Today stamp that came in an old Week in the Life kit, and I'm pulling out these Clearly Kelly workout stamps and just wanted to do some stamping for the workout that I did that day. I kind of started adding some embellishments to the photo side, so the front side of my my card there, and just felt like it started to feel a little bit too overwhelming. So eventually I'm going to flip up the pockets and just do some stamping on the inside where my journaling was, just so the front side doesn't get too busy. So I guess the only downside really to documenting the day in the life like this, having each of the photos and journaling cards be a flip-up pocket, is that it just makes it a little bit more difficult to turn the page in the album just because all of those cards kind of come up. But it was really fun kind of experimenting this way, and when I was just bringing all my photos together, I just had this idea and I didn't know if it was gonna completely work out, but that's usually how it is with most projects. You don't really know until you start working on it or until you complete it. So it was just fun testing it out, and I might choose to just do the photo and journaling on opposite sides and alternate them in the pockets in the future. But I like that all of these photos kind of fit on one spread, so it allows for kind of an overview of the day just with one sort of peek at that whole spread. And I like that the journaling is kind of tucked behind, so you have to kind of interact with the page to get to it. So I don't know, it was a fun way to experiment and just kind of a different way for me to do things. It's definitely different from my other project life pages, so it makes it a very unique spread. And that was fun. So I actually slipped each of those cards into the wrong side of that page protector right there, so I had to go back and fix all of those. But anyways, and then I think I'm going to do one more card here with stamping, and these stamps from Kelly Perky were perfect because they're all about home and the neighborhood, and I'm definitely a homebody, so that was perfect for day in the life. So thank you so much for watching this process video. At the end of this video, I'm just going to do a brief overview of this page and also talk a little bit about my other 2 day in the lives from this year. Okay, so these are how my final pages turned out. I still need to fuse these 4x6 pockets down the middle so that the 3x4 cards don't move around when I'm flipping the pages. And then I still need to add the date of this day in here. But other than that, everything that I want to include is pretty much in here. So overall, I really like how it turned out. It was definitely a little bit formulated. I wanted it to kind of have a consistent look throughout, so didn't really get to play around too much, but I really like having this documented. So I took a different approach every time that I did Day in the Life this year. My first one was actually a traveler's notebook, so I'd say this was probably the most fun to put together, just because I got to play around with the cards that came in the kit, but also other stickers and washi tapes, and just kind of do some fun, not even doodling, but just little things here and there that made each page unique. So I really like that because I wasn't really following a formula other than kind of putting everything in chronological order for this day. And then my second day in the life was a little mini book where I took the cards that were offered in that kit and just put my photos down and then did corresponding journaling. So for each hour, I would do the journaling and then a photo from that hour. So I probably like the look of this one the most. I'm not sure if that's because of the black and white card designs or maybe the black and white photos that I use throughout, but overall, I think that the design of this one just kind of catches my eye a little bit more. But in terms of being more practical, I would probably say a spread in my project life probably works the best, because in the future when I'm kind of flipping through my project life album, it would be nice to kind of see the differences between the days and kind of how it changes throughout the year. So for next year, I don't know if I'll be doing this once or 3 times, and I'm not even sure. I thought, you know, after I completed this, I would kind of have a more clear vision of how I would want to do it in the future, but I just see so many benefits and, you know, the pluses and minuses to each of these formats, and they were all really fun to put together, and we'll kind of see what happens next year. But hopefully you enjoyed this process, and if you haven't completed your last day in the life, or you haven't done a day in the life this year, I hope it goes well for you, and yeah, I will see you in my next video.